Sawadika, it's Friday. Let's coach. It's always my favorite when I can go full out and coach on a weekend. Today I want to talk about the 5 stages of grief. Let me just open a page here to remind myself. I want to speak about the 5 stages of grief, and then I want to speak about specifically the stage of anger. As we all know, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, she came up with the 5 stages of grief a while ago, and she called them denial. The first stage is denial. It's when you're in denial that you're going through this grief, whether somebody passed away, you lost someone, or going through a divorce. It's denial, it's anger, it's bargaining, it's depression, and it's acceptance. Now, researchers have found that you don't go through them step by step like this. You could be going from denial to bargaining into depression, from depression to anger, but you have to have experienced all 4 stages before you go into the final stage, which is acceptance. Now, today I want to focus on anger, the stage of grief that is called anger. It is such a vital part of healing, but I find that as women, we want to suppress that in us. We feel like we don't have the right to be angry, or we feel like it makes us look weak. It makes us feel weak. It makes us even question our own selves. Why am I so angry? Am I not supposed to be over this? We rush our healing. And one thing I want to tell you, when I lost my mom, it took me a really long time to get to the acceptance part of healing. I don't think there's days I wake up, I still don't accept that my mother is not here anymore. And I think I've never gotten over it. I've just learned to live with it. I want to talk because I get a lot of inboxes from women saying, help me process the loss of my dad, help me process the loss of my mom, help me process the loss of my parents, my relationship, I'm going through a breakup. And I find that one of the first things you should do for yourself is do not rush your healing. When someone has departed from your life, whether through death or through a breakup or whatever the case may be, it takes about 30 to 90 days for the nervous system to regulate itself, to make you feel like it doesn't feel real in that amount of time. And then up to 8 months exactly, psychology says, you can start to feel like, okay, I've moved on from this person. But if it was a toxic relationship, if you had a narcissistic mother or narcissistic father, or there was abuse and the person dies the way you die, you are left with so many questions. There's a lack of closure. These type of dynamics, toxic relationships are harder to grieve, which doesn't make logical sense. You'll be thinking, this person put me through so much hell. This parent put me through so much hell, or this partner put me through so much hell. It should be easier to grieve, but it's not always the case. It's harder. And research have done many studies to show you why this is. It's because when you're in a toxic relationship, you become addicted to that toxic dynamic. Also, what toxic individuals do is, and I'm going to coach next week about labels, because too many times we're like, am I dealing with a narcissist? Am I dealing with an avoidant? Am I dealing with a psychopath? It doesn't really matter what you're dealing with. If the person is toxic, they're toxic, and it's not good for you, and you will become toxic too, because there's such a thing called reactive abuse. You can only be abused so many times before you yourself go into the mode of reactive abuse. Now, what these kind of toxic individuals do is that they gaslight you. They make you feel like your experience is not real. They'll even turn around. If you do the therapy, you do the healing, they don't have time to go get therapy or healing. They busy on to the next person because they can never be alone. They have to have that validation. I'm talking about toxic relationships now in terms of romantic relationships. They don't have even a minute to spend in therapy. They're on to the next person, gaslighting that person, rewriting your story, rewriting the roles in the relationship, because what they're so good at doing is DAVO. They deny, attack, and reverse the victim on offender in their story, with their family, with their friends, and your family, and your friends, by the way, and the new supplies, because many of them have more than one new person that they try to replace you with, because they're empty and void. They've never dealt with their childhood trauma. So if you're not knowledgeable, you're not going to know what is happening to you. And you're going to think, I miss this person so much. Whereas you don't miss this person. Your nervous system is dysregulated. You have been severely traumatized. You've been thrown off of your axis, because what these toxic individuals do when they abuse you narcissistically and psychopathically is that they gaslight you. You always think it's your fault. They always have to put the blame on you. They always have to start a smear campaign against you. In fact, while you're still in that relationship, there's a smear campaign going on. Once you start educating yourself and this person has left, you've left them or they've left you, you're still going to go through the grieving process, because you're still going to grieve this relationship, whether you left or they left. If you're a normally attached person and you're not avoidant, you do not move on within a blink of an eye. You will grieve the relationship. Whether you left or they left, it doesn't matter. You'll get to the stage of anger, and this is what I want to talk about, coming back to my original point. This is the part, not many people speak of the stage of healing. This is the part where your sadness gives way to something much sharper, rage. I'm reading from my notes. Not the kind that lashes out blindly, the kind that simmers deep inside of you when you begin to truly grasp what you went through. This is the kind that burns through the fog of confusion and denial and says, I can't believe I allowed that to happen to me. I can't believe they did that to me. This is the stage where the mask falls off in the relationship. Their mask has come off. You've seen who they are completely, because toxic individuals, narcissists, psychopaths, they can play the long game. They can pretend to be who you want them to be. They can mirror you for the longest time. And when the mask comes off, your mask comes off, because you now see their manipulation clearly. You see how they guilt-tripped you, gaslit you, made you question your worth, all while pretending to love you. And you see how much of yourself you gave, your time, your loyalty, your energy, your love, all to someone who never even cared about what it meant, how it was just about what they could get from you. So then you start feeling disgusting, and this is so terrible for you, because you'll spiral then from that anger back into depression, back and forth between anger and depression, because you start feeling disgusting. One moment you're fine, you're breathing, you're moving forward, you're hopeful. The next it hits you, the flashbacks, the memories, the self-betrayal, the realization of how long you were surviving instead of living. Also, when you're in a toxic relationship, it's harder to get over these type of people, because it's like a drug. You become addicted. It's like cocaine. And this is why no contact is so important. You cannot go back and forth and still have contact with that individual. It's like trying to detox from cocaine. Even the smaller seed will take you back into the addiction cycle. You have to break free, clean. You have to make a clean break. And let them talk. Once you go no contact, they will say all kinds of things. Maybe they take a break from the smear campaign. Now the smear campaign starts up. They'll smear you to anyone, and everyone will. You focus on you. Don't care. I bought some gear in my store. Delulu is lekker. Get yourself a t-shirt that says Delulu is lekker, because then you've accepted these labels that they've given you. It helps you to move forward. You cannot go back and forth with these individuals. They'll make you stuck in that toxic cycle of now even getting over. Now you're out of the relationship that was toxic, but now you're getting into a cycle of getting out of this relationship or getting over this person, trying to get over. And trying to force yourself to get over this person will not work for you to help you get over. You just have to realize that your roots went deep. You were attached normally. This person never attached to you. Narcissists, psychopaths do not attach the same way as we. They are all avoidantly attached. Buy yourself a book that says Attached, and you will learn about different attachment styles, especially if you're anxious. Here's the truth. I want to get to the point where I don't go over 10 minutes with this video. Here's the truth. Anger is a part of healing. It's a necessary part of healing. It means you are no longer numb. It means you are no longer buying into their BS and their fantasy. They live in a fantasy. They will come and tell you, you live in a fantasy. Whatever they say to you is a projection. If they say you live in La La Land, that's because they live in La La Land. In La La Land, they can steal family resources, spend it on mistresses, steal from your children, steal from your family, steal from you, and still try and put all the blame